Traditionally for Korean cars, Hyundai Santa Fe II has a rather weak paintwork. It quickly becomes covered with scratches and chips. On some specimens, there is swelling of paint around the windshield and of the roof. Despite this, the body iron is well protected from corrosion. In places where the paint is chipped, the metal does not rust for a long time. Of the common shortcomings in the body, rigid door seals can be noted. Because of this, the doors close with a fork. To fix the problem, adjustment of the lock bracket of the poorly closing door is required. Headlights are prone to fogging. Most often this ailment manifests itself the temperature changes in winter, in rainy weather and after washing. The windshield in severe frost can burst in the area of U200B, U200B hitting the wipers. The reason is a sharp temperature drop. The line of power units is represented by gasoline and diesel engines. Gasoline 2.4 174 horsepower, V6 2.7 189 horsepower, diesel CRDI 2.2 150 and 197 horsepower. Gasoline engines Hyundai Santa Fe II are quite reliable and do not often present unpleasant surprises to their owners. With proper maintenance, oil and filter changes every 10 to 12,000 kilometers. The engine life before overhaul is 350–400,000 kilometers. For a 2.7-liter engine, after 100,000 kilometers of run, the ignition coils may begin to burn out. After 150,000 kilometers, engine cooling radiator leaks appear. The problem is dangerous because it is very difficult to identify it at an early stage. The fact is that the expansion tank has a special design. In connection with this, a small amount of coolant waste remaining in it, even when there is practically no liquid in the system. If you do not fix the problem in time, there is a big risk of overheating the engine. The consequences of overheating can be deplorable. Deformation of the engine head. Closer to the 100,000 kilometers, replacement of catalyst is required. For a power unit with the volume of 2.4 in the cold season, when starting the engine, the Bendix may not disengage from flywheel. Temporarily, 2-3 forced engine stops help to fix the problem. Common problems that are common to all power units include a small starter resource, leaks in the front crankshaft, oil seal, and engine pan. Diesel engines are more capricious and can cause a lot of troubles of their owners. Most often, the culprit of the main engine ailments is the bad diesel fuel. As a rule, fuel injectors are the first to fail due to its fault. When using high-quality fuel, the nozzle can last about 150,000 kilometers. Many owners of the Hyundai Santa Fe II with the mileage of 150 to 100,000 kilometers blame it on a sudden knock from under the hood. The reason is that the high-pressure fuel pump clutch fails. Also, such symptoms may appear when the drive belt tensioner malfunctions. If in cold weather a chirr begins to be heard from the engine compartment, first of all, you need to pay attention of the fuel pressure regulator. Original glow plugs can last up to 100,000 kilometers. To replace candles, it is better to contact a specialized service, since, according to statistics, in almost 50% of cases, when trying to replace candles, they break off. To remove the remains of a broken candle, you will have to remove the engine block head. After 150,000 kilometers, the glow plug relay fails. Another problematic place is the crankshaft pulley with the damper clutch, which can fail even on car with low mileage after 80–100,000 kilometers. With a run of more than 120,000 kilometers, the rod of the vacuum regulator for the position of the blades in the turbine may begin to wedge. Symptoms: the boost pipe fails at the inlet to the intercooler. At the same time, the turbine is quite hardy and can last up to 200,000 kilometers. After 180,000 kilometers, an oil leak appears on many copies. The reason is that it breaks through the cylinder head gasket. The Hyundai Santa Fe II was equipped with two types of gearboxes, mechanics and automatic. Both transmissions are quite reliable, but not flawless. So, for example, in mechanics installed in tandem with the turbo diesel, often after 80–100 km a 2-mass flywheel fails. Also, to the disadvantages of mechanics can be attributed leaks of the oil seals of the axle shaft. One of the most common problems with the machine is jolts, jerks, when shifting gears. The peculiarity of this disease is that it is almost impossible to eliminate it technically. The only thing that can temporarily improve the operation of the box is changing the oil in the automatic transmission. On some spacemans, after 50–70,000 kilometers, it was necessary to change the lever position switch. A typical problem that occurs on both gearboxes in premature wear in the bearing of the right axle shaft. As a rule, the disease manifests itself on a run of 100–120 kilometers. If the problem is not corrected in a timely manner, the wear of spline connection of the inner and outer parts of axle shaft will accelerate in the future. More than 50% of the representatives of this model presented on the secondary market are equipped with a plug-in all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive system is implemented using a multi-plate friction clutch, which is controlled by electronics. The clutch, in principle, is reliable, but is afraid of overheating. Frequent slippage should be avoided. One of the advantages of the clutch is that it is repairable, and if it falls, you will not have to pay more than $1,000 for a new one. As a rule, they ask for $100 to $100 of the restoration of the mufti. The main symptoms of a node malfunction will be kicks, jolts and bumps while driving with the wheel completely turned out. In the all-wheel drive system, the following most often fail. Rear gearbox cover starts to leak after 80,000 kilometers. Rear gearbox oil seal, propeller shaft outboard bearings serve 120–150,000 kilometers. Elastic complaints of the propeller shaft replacement after 150,000 kilometers is required. The car is equipped with an independent suspension, front McPherson strut, rear multi-link. The suspension of Santa Fe II is harsh. Because of this, while driving off-road road, the car shakes a little. In the front suspension supports bearing most often bother, they can creak after 40–60,000 kilometers. The shock absorbers began to leak after 30–50,000 kilometers. In 2010, the manufacturer finalized the part, thereby increasing the service life to 80–100,000 kilometers. On cars of the first year of production, wheel bearings are not famous for their reliability either. In most cases, their resource is 50–70,000 kilometers. They change as an assembly with the hub. If at the beginning of the movement clicks are heard, the culprit most often in the hub nut. Replacing the nut is required, since tightening eliminates the problem for a short time. The front stabilizer struts go up to 50,000 kilometers, the rear up to 70,000 kilometers. The bushings serve 50–80,000 kilometers. In order to replace them, it is necessary to lower the subframe. In the 7-seat version, rear shock absorbers were installed with the ability to change stiffness. They are rented after 70–80,000 kilometers, but they cost several times more than usual ones. Therefore, many owners changed them to ordinary shock absorbers paired with stiffer springs. The remaining suspension elements travel more than 100,000 kilometers. Ball bearings 100–120,000 kilometers, silent blocks 120–150,000 kilometers, multi-link elements up to 150,000 kilometers. In the steering equipment system, the weak point is the steering rack. In most cases, a knock in the rail appears closer to 100,000 kilometers, but there were cases when she needed repairs after 20–30,000 kilometers. As a rule, the rail fails due to wear of the right bushings, and leaking oil seals may also be the reason for early repair. The braking system as a whole is reliable, but on some spacemans, over time, the brake lights on-off limit switch failed. In most cases, the problem was fixed under warranty. Many owners of the Hyundai Santa Fe II know the appearance of a knock in the rear calipers. In order to avoid problems, it is necessary to periodically lubricate the caliper guides. The quality of the finishing materials is not bad. Despite this, there are still a couple of weak points here. Steering wheel. Paint is quickly wiped off the leather trim. The problem is solved by repainting and howling the steering wheel. Plastic easily scratched and cracks in the cold season. There are also complaints about the reliability of the interior electrical equipment. The proprietary audio system received the most criticism. Glitches appear, the display turns off spontaneously, reboots, etc. On a car with the mileage of more than 150,000 kilometers, the air conditioning damper drive motor, which is responsible for the distribution of flows, often fails. If you are the owner of this car model, please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your review that will help readers of our site when choosing a car.